Homemade Chinese red yeast rice wine and Vinesse Fu Chow Angju and Ang Chow. Grandma used to make this homemade rice wine for anyone who is due for baby in the family. It is an essential for the ladies' confinement. We used it in every dish we cooked for the mother within 30 days after the baby is born. This period is called confinement period. Grandma also made sure to make a few more bottles of this wine for my house. My brothers and I are big fan of rice wine chicken. My aunt was teasing me the other day that she remembers me asking for Mom's confinement foods when Mom gave birth to my youngest brother. Now that Grandma is no more, I just feel that this increasingly disappearing tradition should be remembered and recorded. Ingredients: 1,200 grams glutinous rice, the round shape one works better. 150 grams red yeast rice, angkop. 1 ball or 1 teaspoon of rice starter GPA. 2,500 grams of boiled water cooled down to room temperature or distilled water. 1. Wash and soak glutinous rice overnight to make sure it is fully soaked. Note: to see if it is ready, break 1 grain with your finger the next day. If it is easily broken into half, the rice is ready. 2. At the same time, in a clean glass or clay container, mix together red yeast rice and 2,500 grams of cold boiled distilled water. Note: it is very important to use clean container without oil or any possible residue that could cause contamination to the wine. A drop of oil is enough to spoil the soup of the wine, 3. The next day, drain the water out from glutinous rice. Bring half pot of water to boil and steam the glutinous rice for an hour. I used muslin cloth with bamboo steamer to steam the rice. It let the steam penetrate through the rice and cooks the rice better without overcooking it. 4. As my bamboo steamer is double layer, I swapped the upper layer with the lower in between for even steaming. You could also sprinkle some water on the surface while swapping, as it normally dries up a little during the cooking process. Note: it is better not to cook the glutinous rice using rice cooker, as the cooker normally overcook the rice and make it mushy. Mushy rice made sourish wine, which we should try to avoid at any cost. 5. When the rice is cooked, loosen and spread to let it cool down completely. 6. In a mortar and pastel, pound the wine starter into powder. 7. Add the cooled rice into the pre-soaked red yeast rice and water. Sprinkle wine starter and stir it well. 8. Place the container cap, but do not tighten it. The brewing process produces quite a bit of gas, and this will let the gas release naturally. Leave the container at a well-ventilated place at room temperature. 9. Stir it every 3-4 days with a very clean spatula. It was already smells like wine after 4 days and tasting real sweet. Note: do not leave the container at warm and humid place, as it could attract bacteria or over-ferment the rice, turning the wine into vinegar. 10. Harvest the wine and rice residue leaves Vinesse after 20-30 days, whenever the wine is ready. The rice should look a little porridge-like in texture and has slight alcohol smell. When the rice precipitates naturally at the bottom, the rice is ready. Harvest time depending on weather and temperature. It normally takes longer in winter and shorter time in summer. 11. Filter and bottle the wine. Keep the rice residue leaves Vinesse and Chow too. It is a great cooking ingredient. 12. This recipe made 3 in 1, 2 bottles of wine and 2 boxes of Ang Chow. Both could be stored at dry cold place for more than a year or as long as it lasts. Note: I grind my Ang Chow red yeast rice wine lees into a smooth paste and keep in tight container and refrigerate. It is the best food coloring and great for marinades. This is how the wine looks after 3 years, clear and golden in color, smells great and good for cooking. Posted by A Taste of Memories Echo's Kitchen at 4:45 p.m. Email this blog this. Share to Twitter, share to Facebook, share to Pinterest. Labels: Chinese cooking wine, homemade Chinese cooking wine, homemade wine, rice wine, sauce and condiments. I have a bowl of red rice, and on my right I have premade rice wine that already has yeast in it. You can buy yeast at any Asian market. Let's make this rice wine buddy. Let's add our premade yeast rice that was not shown in this video to our red rice. Here's how you do it. You take your spoon, then you grab some of that yeast rice and mix it into your red rice. Mix it well, my friend. I use the spoon to prevent contamination and to prevent getting a yeast infection. Most people use their hands, but I am smart and would rather use my own spoon instead of my fingers, which might get dirty. Make sure you mix it well. Stir, stir, mix, mix. Get all that gump and goop and good stuff all over your rice. This process should take several hours if you do it right. Mix, 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 woohoo. Why is there a bottle of Tostitos here, you might ask? Well, Tostitos are great. And the bottle is completely reusable because it's glass. I used it to make my old rice wine. When you are done mixing your red rice with the yeast, you can then yip yap woo. Yip yap woo, what does that mean? It means it's time to add it into our empty jars to let the fermentation process happen. We now add our mixed rice into the jars and close it to let it ferment. Be careful and try to not get any water into the mixture, as this may contaminate your rice wine. Oh yeah, look at that wonderful red color. Don't forget to subscribe and follow my awesome channel. rice into the jars.
1, 2,
We will
3,
do this
4.
carefully to
1,
avoid contamination.
2, 3, 4.
If our rice batch is contaminated, it will taste sour and you can really get sick from it. Make sure your glass jars are properly cleaned and dried before you move on to this process. We will now carefully add our red rice wine mixture into the empty jars. Watch and learn from the professional. What you see here is fine artsmanship of making rice wine. WTF is artsmanship? Well, it's a new word that I just made up. Lol. We will now transfer red rice plus yeast into our empty jars. This process should take several hours, but it's worth it. I'm joking, it should only take a few minutes to complete this task. Don't spend too long transferring rice into the jars, unless you're making a lot of them. In this video, we are making a lot of it. Let's do this, buddy. Woot ha ha ha. Once this is done, you can close it in an airtight container to prevent oxygen from entering. This will trigger the fermentation process to start. Come back and check your jars every few days. The lid should be completely vacuum sealed because of the carbon dioxide that is being created by the yeast and bacteria. This is normal. If you want, you can loosen up your jars to let some of that gas escape. But remember to expose it to the air for too long, as this will allow bacteria and other harmful contaminants to enter. If that happens, your batch of rice wine could be ruined and end up tasting sour and nasty. Oopsie, sorry, I meant to say, don't expose your rice wine jars to the air for too long. Whoopsie, I meant to say, not stay. I say, keep the jars closed. Retighten the jar once you have let some carbon dioxide gas escape. If you do this right, in about 7 days you should have rice wine ready to be eaten and drink. You can also wait longer to let the wine get stronger. In my next video I will show you how to pour out the rice wine and how to store it for consumption. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also share this ghetto video with your friends. I will keep making more ghetto videos for you in the future. Thank you, see you next time. Pastel. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also share this ghetto video with your friends. I will keep making more ghetto videos for you in the future. Thank you. See you next time. Pastel.